Hey, what's up, everybody? Stanford35 here, and as of today, April 8th, 2014, the online servers for Resistance Fall of Man, Resistance 2, and Resistance 3 are no longer working. And, since I really like the Resistance series, I wanted to bring you guys a commentary just talking about, some of my memories and things I really liked about the Resistance series and why I'm actually kind of sad to see that the servers for the game are getting shut off. Well, let's start with the beginning. The Resistance Fall of Man was the first Resistance game in the series, of course. There's also a lot of firsts for me personally. Resistance was like the first PlayStation 3 game I ever had for my system when I got it around launch. It was the first first-person shooter I ever really played a lot of. Like, I played a little bit of like Halo 2 and 3 at a friend's house, but it was the first-person shooter that I actually owned myself. Resistance Fall Man was the first one because I never really played very many first-person shooters back in the PS2 era. And then Resistance Fall Man also was like the first M-rated game I ever really played a whole lot of. So Resistance Fall Man was a lot of firsts for me back in the day when it released. And also, online-wise, it was the first multiplayer game I ever really got into and got really good at. Like, I loved Resistance Fall of Man's online multiplayer. Like, I'm not even a big multiplayer guy myself. Like, I really don't like playing multiplayer all that much. I'm not, a huge multiplayer enthusiast, but but the Resistance series, well, at least the first two, you'll see. I'll get to Resistance 3 later, but at least the first two Resistance games are the games I had the most fun with online wise, especially my internet. Like, my internet back then was like legitimately a struggle. I had like the worst internet you could possibly imagine back in the day. So when those times I did get to play Resistance Fall Man online without it disconnecting randomly because my internet was horrible, that was a struggle. But those games were so much fun. But I was going to tell you why. And let's just start off with the game was actually really balanced. It was really balanced. From what I remember, I don't think there was a single overpowered weapon in that game. Believe it or not, like the way the game played online, it was like pretty much a bare bones kind of thing. Each side started out with their own default weapon. Like, the humans started out with the carbine, and then the Chimera started out with the bullseye. And you had to run around the map and figure out the weapon spawns to pick up the weapon. So it's pretty much bare bones, kind of old school style, where you picked up a weapon by memorizing where it spawned at and all that. And I like that system of online play. It seems a lot more fair and balanced. How there's no custom classes and all that. Like, custom classes are cool, but I'm getting kind of played out with those. Just make everyone start out with the same thing and let people figure out where the weapons spawn. And even the default weapons, even though both sides had like two different default starting weapons, one was never really better than the other one. Like, yeah, the bullseye that the Chimera had, it shot faster, it output more bullets, and you could tag people with it and if you hit people with the bullseye tag, it would, lock onto them and the bullets would go straight for them and do more damage faster because all the bullets were concentrated on that one spot. But even though the bullseye shot faster and had some things on it that were a little bit better than the carbine, it never completely outclassed the carbine the humans had. If you had, good aim and all that stuff, you could still outshoot somebody with the bullseye. They weren't invincible, and the carbine wasn't completely outstripped by the bullseye, which is good, fair balance that you probably wouldn't see all that much of in multiplayer games nowadays. Another thing that was really balanced about the game is the power weapons. Like, there was the Lark, which was a rocket launcher, had a cool alternate fire to where you could stop the rocket in midair and like make little mini rockets come out of it. That was a awesome power weapon that wasn't overpowered either. It was a rocket launcher, sure, and it wasn't, ridiculously overpowered. It was a powerful rocket launcher. It would kill people instantly if you shot them with, like a typical rocket launcher. Yeah, it was more beneficial to shoot at people's feet with it, because if you try to shoot them directly with it, there was a high chance you would miss. But and also another power weapon I remember in that game being the arc charger. Now, the way I describe it's going to sound like it would be overpowered, and in this day and age of multiplayer shooters, it probably would be an overpowered weapon, but back then it was actually really balanced. Like, if you remember, the arc charger was like this, it was this gun that could shoot like this red arc of electricity, and every time you tap the trigger, it shoot out more or whatever. and you could arc it to hit multiple people. Like if there was two people at you at one time, you could like shoot it and then arc it to where it would launch arc off that guy and onto the next guy. But the thing about it was they made sure it was balanced. What you would think by that description is like, wow, that could possibly be an overpowered, annoying weapon to get killed by, but it wasn't. Like if you had to be careful how you shot the archer, because if you just shot it and spammed it, the thing would overheat really fast, and you honestly wouldn't kill anybody. Even one person, if you just spam the trigger, the thing would overheat really quickly, and you wouldn't even kill the guy, and he would kill you because you have to wait a long time for it to cool down. So you had to like kind of time your taps with it, so you don't overheat the thing instantly. So yeah, it was for a weapon like that, it was actually really balanced, and that's the main thing I liked about the Resistance series that not a lot of multiplayer games have nowadays is balance. Of course, there's no kill streaks, there's no perks, it was just you and your guns. Whatever guns you could pick up off the floor, the Chimera could pick up the human carbine and use that, and the humans could pick up the bullseye and use that. And I just remember having so many fun times on that. Like the maps were fun, all that. Oh, and also Resistance Fall, man, was not only the first multiplayer game I really got into. It was the first multiplayer game I was really good at too. Like, I guess because I played single player a lot, I was really good at Resistance Fall, man, multiplayer. Like, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but like, I wish I had some sort of recording device so I could like record and show some of those games that I got in Resistance back then. Because like, dude, it was freaking crazy with the things that happened in that game. Like, I wish I could remember it myself. Like, I can't remember everything, but I would know if I had a way to like sit back and just rewatch some of the matches I played. There was some intense, crazy moments in that game. Like, you got ribbons for doing different things, like a 10 kill streak, you get a ribbon, and, just different ribbons and medals for things. There's this one called, like, the Target Bomber, which, you kill someone from far away with a grenade, like, almost instantly. Like, what you would have to do with it is, like, just killing someone with a grenade normally won't, I don't think it'll give you the Target Bomber thing. You have to hit them with it, because, like, it's kind of weird, but if you hit people with the grenade directly, it would, like, go off instantly and kill them. Same thing with either the frag grenade or the hedgehog, and it was funny. I remember throwing like a grenade halfway across the map at a dude that was like walking towards me, and freaking just watch him like take one step and the grenade land right on top of him. Then I see him blow up and do a cartwheel over to the side behind a freaking box or something. Then the Target Bomber ribbon would pop up, and I'd just be sitting there laughing. I mean, I remember like after matches in that game, I would be getting like either clan invites or friend requests, like after a lot, not every game, but like quite a few games, I'd like play, and then after a while people would be like, wow, this guy's actually pretty good. And like I said, I'm not trying to brag, it's just that's really what happened. And then like you'd be sitting there in the lobby, and all of a sudden like you'd hear this ding or whatever, like a little beep, a notification that someone sent you either a friend request or a clan invite. And I was a part of a I can't remember what the clan was now. Now it was so long, but I got quite a few different clan invites and I accepted some. We played some games. It was fun. I didn't have a headset back then, but people could talk with each other. That also reminds me. There was this one guy I met. I can't remember his PSN anymore because it was such a long time ago. But there was this one guy. It's like it was weird. He had a headset, but I didn't. But we could like still communicate with each other somehow. It was weird. It's like me and him like knew what to do with it or whatever. He just like played off of each other really well. Like he would talk and say he was about to flank a guy, and then I would go around and shoot this other guy, and then he said he would need help somewhere, and I'd be over there and try to help him and kill him. He'd be like, thanks and all that. It was really cool. And then like remember one time I picked up the freaking rocket launcher, killed like 2 people with it, and he was like, hey Stat Mac, you want the rocket launcher again or something like that? I'm like, wow, this guy was pretty cool. There's times like that made me wish I had a headset so, I could talk to people. But, me and him, it was just like me and him versus 2 other people, because like the other people that game had left and didn't fill up or whatever. So just like me and that guy versus like 2 other people, and we just like played really well off each other despite the fact that I didn't have a headset, and we won that game. It was pretty awesome. I added that guy to my friends list too, but that was so long ago. I think I deleted him or he deleted me. He's not on my friends list anymore. I can't remember his name, but he was a pretty cool guy. And oh yeah, I also remember this one time It was like me and a whole bunch of other people on this team. There was this one dude in the lobby that named like Nathan Hale something something with like a whole bunch of numbers at the end of his name. He was like I can't remember any of the jokes he said, but I remember this dude was spitting out some pretty funny jokes, and we were all just laughing at this guy. But he was good too. He was a good player, and he was just cracking jokes. It was funny. I can't remember any of the jokes now, but it was funny. Resistance Fall Man is one of my favorite older last multiplayer games. It's got really nice balance. There wasn't an overpowered gun in the game, I don't think. Like, there was also this one weapon you could pick up called the Dragon. It was pretty much a flamethrower. You could kill humans with it too, and Chimera, but the thing was the Chimera were weaker to it. It did more damage to the Chimera, but not so much damage to where it would be completely overpowered, and you couldn't you could kill someone that was using it even if you were a Chimera. Like, you had to be careful how you use that flamethrower too, because you could set yourself on fire with if you weren't careful and started shooting everywhere, you could actually set yourself on fire. And the Chimera weren't completely helpless against the thing. So even if someone was using that Dragon flamethrower, I can't even talk no more. If someone was using the Dragon flamethrower and you were a Chimera, you could still kill them. It wasn't overpowered. Like, that's one of the things I like about the Resistance Fallen Man, is like it was actually really balanced. Not the shotgun wasn't overpowered. The power weapons were strong, but not an overpowered way to where you would just hoard them. It was that old style where everyone started out with their own set of weapons. Like I said, the Chimera started out with the bullseye, the humans, the carbine. And you just went around the map and picked up weapons. I really want to see more multiplayer games have that type of style, because it's like the most balanced you can be. Like, try to find a game that's as balanced as Resistance Fall of Man nowadays, multiplayer wise. There might be some out there, but they're surely not. No, it's not possible. But yeah, I really enjoyed Resistance Fall of Man's online multiplayer. Like, that was back in the day when I had like the legit struggle internet. Like, my internet was so bad back then, but when I got on and played matches, it was so much fun. And just, oh my god, I wish I could play that game again with like the full lobby, like back on launch release day when that game had a population of people played it a lot. So much fun with that game. You have no idea. I know it's actually hard to snipe too. Like, with the Far Eye sniper rifle, you actually had to try to snipe. I don't think you could quickscope people. You couldn't quickscope people either. Like, there wasn't even an aiming reticule when you weren't aimed in with it. You could shoot. You could still shoot, hip fire it, but it was so hard to hit people. There was no point. You actually had to try to snipe, and it was hard to do. So yeah, I really would like to see another games online be exactly like Resistance Fall Man, because that was like the most fun I've had with a multiplayer game in the longest time. But enough about Resistance Fall Man. Now we're gonna go on to Resistance 2. Resistance 2, came out. I can't remember when the game came out. We're gonna have to look it up. But that game, Resistance 2 is probably my favorite Resistance series game in the franchise, for both single player and multiplayer. And since it's a video about the Resistance multiplayer, we're just going to talk about that. The Resistance 2 multiplayer, it wasn't completely even better, but it had a lot more and flare and flashiness and abilities and all that stuff than Resistance Fall of Man. So in some ways it was a lot more fun and a little bit better than Resistance 2, and then in some ways it wasn't. Like, for instance, the balance. For the most part, Resistance 2 was pretty balanced. It's just, pretty much like the only overpowered gun I can remember from Resistance 2 is the Wraith. The freaking Wraith. That it was pretty much a minigun. You walked slow with it when you had it, and you couldn't sprint with it when you were shooting. You had to walk slow, but that gun was just so freakishly overpowered. It was retarded. Like, people figured out this glitch you could do. Like, normally when you hold down the R1 button to shoot it, since it's a minigun or a chain gun or whatever, you have to wait for a couple seconds for it to spin up before you can shoot. You can't shoot it instantly. But these faggots then went and found a freaking glitch to where, like, if you jump and hold down the R1 button, it would shoot instantly. Like, you didn't have to wait for it to spin up. You just jump and hold the R1 button. So every now and then you get into a lobby with these faggot Wraith users jumping around like a bunch of complete fucking idiots with that gun, and the Wraith would shred your fucking health. It was so hard to outshoot people with that gun. all you had to do was just like stay on the move a lot and jump around some, you know, headshot them, and then you would destroy. Like Wraith users weren't that hard to kill. It was just because of the freaking the gun itself would shred your health, and it had that an alternate fire, because you know in every resistance game the guns have like a primary fire and an alternate fire. Like I said, the bullseye tag was the alternate fire of the bullseye, and then the alternate fire for the Wraith was like the shield, and you couldn't they couldn't fire when they had the shield on at the same time. Thank God, and Insomniac at least thought of that. But you know, if you did it right, you could sometimes run up to people through their shields and just melee them and kill them, which is what I've done before to humiliate these retarded faggot Wraith users. Unfortunately, that was the only gun Insomniac never bothered to patch. They never bothered to nerf the damage of that thing or patch the part where the glitch where you can jump and shoot it instantly. They never fixed that. That was the one thing that disappointed me about Resistance 2. Now, one of the things that made me really happy about Resistance 2 was like the huge 60 player matches thing. You know, in Team Deathmatch you have 30 versus 30, and freaking, oh my god, the maps were so huge. It was crazy. Like at the time, that was pretty much like the biggest multiplayer game I'd ever played at the time. Like I remember freaking out. I was like, dude, 30 versus 30, that's insane. Like, of course you have games now where it's more players, and like, you know, the 64-man thing on Battlefield, Broken Field, We Got Your Money Again, Field 4, or whatever you want to call it. But you know, at the time that was a huge number of people playing. You could play with and against at the same time. The maps were huge and all that stuff. It was insane, just the amount of shit that was going on and happening, dude. It was hectic, and it was still fun at the same time. And the funny thing about the 30 versus 30 thing is like you rarely get bad spawns in that game. Like, of course, you know, with people everywhere, you would get that random bad spawn every now and then, but in all honesty, it didn't happen all that often. It really didn't, not that I remember anyway. Like, yeah, you would get a bad spawn every now and then where, like, you know, you would spawn in front of a guy across the map with a sniper rifle, but usually you had this thing called spawn protection, which is what apparently developers nowadays forget to implement in multiplayer games. But you had this beautiful thing called spawn protection, so if you did spawn in front of somebody, you could either outshoot them or just run away, you know, and try to get to a safer spot or whatever. But for the most part, the spawns in that game weren't too bad, actually. And it's hilarious that a game that came out, you know, I can't remember when the release date was. I have to look it up again, like I said. But a game that came out, you know, way back, back then, has a better, you know, spawn system than games nowadays. I look at games like Call of Duty or something like that. Like, there's less people on that, yet you still spawn behind somebody or in front of somebody looking at you. Yet in a game where it could be up to 30 versus 30, you got a bad spawn every now and then, but for the most part, you had your own safe spawn system. Like, the multiplayer games back then were better than they are now. Like, I never really played Halo 2 or Halo 3 back in the day, but, you know, those games were better, had better online than most games nowadays. And, you know, just the different map, like, there was different map sizes that were small for, like, either 6v6, I think. Like, they had different map sizes, you know. They were small for 6v6, I think, medium for 12v12, and the large was 30v30. And, you know, it was hectic either way. Like, even 6-on-6 or 12-on-12 or whatever, you know, it was just hectic and fun at the same time. And, you know, it's really hard to find that, you know, middle ground of it being hectic and fun at the same time in multiplayer games nowadays. And then also in Resistance 2, Insomniac implemented this new thing called Berserks. There weren't really kill streaks, really, because, like, you couldn't get just 2 or 3 kills and earn it. It was based off XP. So, like, you know, you had to get a set amount of XP to fill up the bar to use your Berserk, and there was different ones. I can't remember the list. There was, like, quite a good list of Berserks, and I can't remember every single one, but the good thing about the Berserk were they weren't overpowered either. Like, Insomniac made the Berserks, but they weren't overpowered, and they were actually fairly balanced. Like, one that I can remember that I use all the time was called Ironheart, and when you got enough experience to use that, you just, like, tap down on the D-pad, and, like, you get, like, this protective bubble around you. Well, this protective bubble around you, and it made it where like the damage you take from enemies is reduced. Like you can still die. Like if enough people shoot you at the same time and pump bullets into you, you can die. You're not a juggernaut. You're not a god. You're not invincible. You can still die. It's just harder for people to kill you. And then there was another one where it was like, I can't remember what it was called, but it was pretty much like this like the Chimera version of a rocket launcher, and you had to like hold down the armor button to charge it, and we shot it. It shot like this really powerful splash damage explosive that could take out quite a big group of people if you aimed it right. And then the human version was the Lark, and then I think there's one where you can go invisible, but it's not overpowered or whatever, and doesn't last for very long. I can't remember any of the other ones, but for the most part, the Berserks, they were a new feature. They were cool. They were balanced, and oh yeah, another one is the Chimera have is this thing called hybrid vision, where if you use that, you and your teammates get hybrid vision, where you can see people through walls, but not in an overpowered way. Like you look at games like The Last of Us or something like that. I like The Last of Us multiplayer, but you know, games where like you get this stupid thing to where like you hold down a button or you activate something, you can see people's either entire outlines or their name through the walls. Like you could see like with the hybrid vision of Resistance 2, you could see the people's body outline through the wall, but you couldn't see them from across the map. They actually had to be somewhat, you know, relatively close for you in order to see them through the wall or whatever. You couldn't just like have someone activate hybrid vision and then just look across the map and see like 4 people moving through the walls over there. They had to be relatively close to you for you to see them. And like, you know, I'm pretty sure if there were people were to implement something like that in a multiplayer game nowadays, it wouldn't be balanced. It would just be annoying as fuck. You would get camped on by people left and right. You wouldn't be able to move. But another thing I really wanted to get into, that was pretty much the competitive multiplayer part of the game. Oh yeah, and same thing with like the auger. You know, the auger was a gun where like you could see people through walls and shoot them through walls. But just like hybrid vision, they had to be certain distance to you to see them through the wall. Like you know, they had to be like pretty much around the corner or through like the next wall in order to see them. And then even if you saw them through the wall, if they backed off, they would disappear. You couldn't see them through the wall forever. They have to be a certain proximity to you in order to see them through the wall with the auger. But it, you know, it was balanced, and that's pretty much the competitive part of the multiplayer for Resistance 2. Now I want to get on to the extremely fun part about it, was the 8-player co-op. Oh my god, that 8-player co-op. Whoo! What the 8-player co-op was, you're pretty much playing as like this it has its own like little kind of story thing too. But pretty much you're playing as like this group of people that are, you know, I can't remember, specters. I can't remember what their special group were called, but pretty much like, you know, you went to like these chimera infested places and killed them, you know, and did like these little objectives. Like it was random every time. Like, you know, you had like different you had like a map, and then like the objectives would rotate randomly, you know, so you wouldn't always get the same starting objective every time whenever you went to play that map. And you know, the mission could be either kind of long or kind of short, just, you know, depending on the randomization of the mission objectives. So you would do the same mission, but you wouldn't do it in the same order. You know, you like do one mission here, and then the next mission is the last one, and then next time you do it, the last mission is the first one, stuff like that. But basically, it was up to 8 people could play it, and oh my god, it had like, there was like 3 different classes you could pick. There was the soldier, who was like the tank of the group. He had like the wraith and a protective shield, and you know, he was pretty much, like I said, the tank. And, you know, he was the one that dealt the massive damage and stuff like that. And the other class you could play as was the Spec Ops class, and he was pretty much like the sniper ammo guy or whatever, because like his one of the things you could do is he would throw out ammo to the other players, even himself. Like he would give himself ammo when he threw out an ammo crate. You know, he would give you the guys you know, ammo for the wraith, or ammo to keep replenishing the shield, because, you know, if you had the shield up with the wraith, it would drain the shield capacity for it. And he would throw out grenade boxes too, so, you know, you just push the circle button, it was random, whichever one, you know, he would throw out. And he was also pretty much a sniper, because he could use like the marksman, which was a 3-shot burst sniper rifle, pretty much. Well, not a sniper rifle, but pretty much a 3-shot burst assault rifle type sniper with a scope on it. And the last class you could play as, which was pretty much my personal favorite class to play as, was the medic. You know, he had like this medic gun that shot out like this beam of red. You know, to shot out this beam of like, it was like normal blue light when you weren't hitting anything, but when you hit an enemy, it would like turn red, and you know the controller would start vibrating because you were doing damage to them. And you would actually take the life energy from the enemies and put it into yourself to heal yourself. Like if you took damage, all you had to do was just constantly focus that beam on the enemy, and you know what, you would take health from that enemy and give it to yourself to heal yourself. The secondary fire for the medic was like this little energy blast thing they could shoot out of the medic gun to heal your teammates. You know, if someone was low on health or getting ready to die, you could, like, you know, just keep spamming the trigger and just keep spamming the alternate fire and heal your teammates. And you got more ammo with that because there was only, I think it only used like 5 at the start, but you know, when you leveled up your character more, you could upgrade it and, you know, hold like up to 15, which was the max, and you know, shoot that at your enemies to help get the health back up. And the medic, of course, you know, was the best at reviving people. He was the fastest. And one of my favorite abilities that the medic could use, because like the Spec Ops characters, they also have berserks too. They have berserks that some berserks were unique to co-op only. Like my favorite one for the medic was the Phoenix Ashes, where, like, you know, if you die, instead of waiting for someone to revive you, can just push down and you can revive yourself instantly. And you know, like I said, the medic was my personal favorite class to play as. And oh yeah, and speaking of upgrades and all that stuff, you know, whenever you did a mission, you got this stuff called Gray Tech, and it was pretty much used to buy upgrades and stuff for your character. Like, you know, you would play the missions and get experience and all that stuff. You could level up your character. The highest level was 30, and you know, every mission you play, you get this stuff called Gray Tech, and you use that to buy upgrades for your character and weapons and all that stuff. And your character would actually change looks over time. Like, you know, whenever you bought like a new piece of armor that did something, like you can get like these gloves for the medic that, I haven't read the descriptions in forever. You can get these gloves for the medic that, you know, made him heal better or something. I can't remember, but you know, and it would actually change the look of your character. So, you know, your character will look more advanced and high tech over time as you level them up and all that. And I just remember even me and my friends, like, we would like 2-player co-op it with just me and my friends sometimes, and then other times we 2-player co-op with people online, because, you know, you get like the way it was, if I remember this right, I think you could like have 2-player split screen co-op and play with people online at the same time. So, like, you know, me and my friend could be sitting here at the TV playing split screen, and the screens were actually split in a way where you could actually see what the hell you were doing. I can't find very many games that do that now. Well, but you know, me and my friend would be sitting here playing split screen, and then, you know, other people, the other people would be online, and we would be playing with them. It was awesome. Like the 8-player co-op to Resistance 2 was just incredible amounts of fun. We would stay up for like hours, son, like hours into the morning playing that freaking co-op, trying to get that Gray Tech and level up our characters and all that stuff. And it was fun every time. Like, it was like, I can't even imagine. Like, dude, it was just so much fun. Like, there's different maps and missions and all that stuff. And then you always had to fight. At some point, you have to fight like hordes, and I mean hordes of freaking Chimera just pouring out of every which way. And there was also these things called generals or whatever, where there were more powerful enemies. They had like the star raking over their head and a little health bar to show you that they were a lot more powerful than normal enemies. They had, like, you know, steelheads, titans that you could fight. Not the titans from Attack on Titan, the Resistance Titan, the big dudes with the gun that shoot giant fireballs at you. Yeah, those titans. And like these big ass freaking Grims, which are like these really skinny, creepy looking Chimera things. And, you know, just had different, you know, missions and all that. It was just so much fun. Like, that was the most fun. That was like the most fun I've had on a co-op game in a long time. Like, even since then, I haven't had that much fun with a co-op game, let alone an online co-op game, since Resistance 2. Like, it was just a massive amounts of fun. I mean, it was crazy. But yeah, now that I sit here and think about it, it's like to this day I still haven't played a multiplayer game that was nearly as fun. I mean, I haven't played a co-op game or multiplayer game competitive in general that was nearly as much fun as Resistance 2. Like that game had so much appeal and just fun factor to it. It was ridiculous. Like I mean, I recently started playing Resistance 2 and 3. These last couple of days, like I said, the servers are pretty much shut off as of today. So just thought I'd get in a couple more last games because the Resistance series was a series I like quite a lot. I almost forgot how fun Resistance 2's multiplayer and co-op was, especially the co-op. Like, dude, it's so much fun. I'm glad I got on and played it the last few times. And if you guys missed out and never played Resistance 2 or 1's online, especially Resistance 2's co-op, I feel bad for you, son. You should have played it. Like, it was really fun. Like, I can safely say, like, Resistance 2 online still is better than like the majority of modern day shooters online today. Like it's better than most modern day shooters. Like I'm sorry, it's true. And then finally we go on to Resistance 3. That game was Resistance 3 was a letdown. Resistance 3 was like a really big letdown and disappointment in both the story and the online. Like it was my least favorite one in the series. Like it was just I don't even know what Insomniac was doing. It must have been on like crack or something. I don't know because like I said, I've been recently replaying Resistance 2 and 3's online. Since the server's about to get shut off, and I forgot how bad Resistance 3's multiplayer was. That game, I forgot how much that game pissed me off. Like I tried to play it again recently. I just joined back the first few games. It was stupid. It was stupid. Like the first game, I couldn't move out of the spawn. I could barely move. Then I left that. I joined another game. This time, the enemy team couldn't move. Like the spawn trapping in Resistance 3 is too real. Like that was the thing about the first two Resistance games. You couldn't get spawn trapped. There was no way to spawn trap people in Resistance 2 and 3's multiplayer. I mean, Resistance 1 and 2's multiplayer. Resistance 3's multiplayer, on the other hand, it was almost too easy to spawn trap. We're talking like Call of Duty level of spawn trapping here. I'm not lying. It was terrible. I never knew you could spawn. You never could be able to spawn trap people in Resistance until Resistance 3 came out. And speaking of comparing it to Call of Duty, that's pretty much honestly what Resistance 3 multiplayer was. It was pretty much Call of Duty with the Resistance skin thrown on it. Like, it even had the same exact control layout as Call of Duty. Like, the thing about the first two Resistance games, they had their own button layout style. Like, instead of pressing circle to crouch, you press circle to throw a grenade, and you press, like, L2, I think it was. You held that to sprint, And L1, L1 and R1 is always used to aim and shoot, but it had like its own like little unique control style for the Resistance games that it was different, but hey, it wasn't too hard to get used to. Resistance Fall Man has pretty much the exact same controller button layout as the default controls for Call of Duty, and they put kill streaks in this game. Like I forgot about that until I started replaying it recently, but they put freaking kill streaks in this game, like. What? Where do you get kill streaks from in the Resistance game? Like, what? I really want to know what Insomniac Games was on, what they were smoking when they came up with the design choices for Resistance 3's multiplayer. Because I want some too. I want to know what it's like to make a game and not give a single solitary fuck while making that game. Like, I really want to know what that's like because these dudes did not care when they did whatever they were on. They did not care. They just was like, oh yeah, Call of Duty, let's do that with Resistance, and that was a terrible idea. Resistance never should have tried to be like Call of Duty or take anything from Call of Duty. It was fine as its own unique little thing. Like there was a 2 kill streak for the Chimera where they could go invisible. You'll know how that is. And then there was a 2 kill streak for the humans. That was an assault shield, which is pretty much like the Wraith from Resistance 2. And then there was like more other ones I can't remember. If you got like a 7 or 8 kill streak or something like that, you were like this really big monstrous type thing with like this grenade launcher. You transformed into that, and for a couple seconds you would kill everything just relentlessly. And it's like, it seems like ever since they tried to make it like Call of Duty, they worked too much like Call of Duty. Like I said, you could spawn trap the crap out of people, which wasn't possible in the first 2 Resistance games. You could not spawn trap people in that game. But Resistance 3 had 2 games in a row where we spawn trapped the other team. Like there was literally about 2 ways they could get out, and we watched both those ways, and they would jump out and die instantly. It wasn't fun. it was boring. So yeah, just a few games in, I realized, wow, no wonder I hated Resistance 3's multiplayer. I knew I hated it, and I remembered hating it. I just didn't remember it as much. Like, I was playing Resistance 2, and I was happy and everything, just nostalgia, reminiscing, all that. I was like, okay, let's play some Resistance 3. I put that disc in, I almost ate the controller. Like, I legit about took a bite out that dang controller. I was so mad. It was that bad. It was retarded as fuck. But yeah, that's just Resistance 3. It was just the letdown, both single player and multiplayer. The single player wasn't too bad. It was an alright single player. Just compared to Resistance 1 and 2, the single player was kind of lacking on Resistance 3. Same with the multiplayer. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Resistance Fall of Man series, the online portions. Resistance 1 and 2, they were both fun, memorable, balanced multiplayer games that, I love to play. And going back to play Resistance 2 again after not having played it for a long time, I still had fun with it. And I realized, that game was a lot more fun than most modern day shooters they have now. The game is it was so much fun. I mean, despite the Wraith faggots, the game was still fun. And then, Resistance 3, that I don't know what that Resistance 3 just shouldn't have happened. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Resistance Fall of Man Online series. I'm really sad that, the Resistance series service is going to get shut off. Like, of course, yeah, I haven't played it in years, since this, but, I still decided to start it back up again just to play. Like, the gameplay you're seeing of this is like the footage I recorded while playing the game for the last few days, just a couple of days ago, and was like, let's just hop back on this just for good old times, because I really liked the Resistance series. It was a really good franchise, and I really thoroughly enjoyed the multiplayer of the first two. So I was like, why not get these last couple of games in before I can't do it anymore? And I played it, and I realized, wow, these games are still fun. And then I played Resistance 3 online and almost had a freaking brain tumor, but yeah, I digress. But anyway, I'm Starman35 and I'm out. Please don't forget to leave a rating, comment, and subscribe. And, share your details if any of you guys ever had any good memories of playing any of the Resistance titles online. And do you guys feel kind of sad that the Resistance series servers are getting shut off? I mean, because like I said, I actually do feel kind of sad about that. But, oh well, it happens. But I'm out. Peace.